Welcome to Lake Locos. I will take you to railway layout exhibitions on train days out and also show you my progress on my indoor and outdoor projects. Here I am with Rich on Rails. I'm the one with the orange rucksack, he's got the big tash. We had pre-booked tickets, so we were amongst all the people who had done so were first in, and we were off. So I'm breaking this video down into 3 parts, around 5 minutes each, so that you can have a tea break perhaps with each one. So first of all, we had a good look round all of the trade stands, of which there were many, as well as the 60 layouts. So plenty of bargains to be had, but mainly for 00. So the Lee Valley Railway Centre layout is in O gauge. I believe it's based on a preserved heritage line, and the era preserved is probably mid-1960s.
It should be a rising one that pulls up and it's cutting on. That's a servo on a long street.
So this is Hardwick Grange, it's a 00. It's based apparently during 1957 to 58, when steam engines were beginning to be phased out and diesel locos were just starting to appear. Hardwick Grange depicts train workings typical of the Duckeries, a busy area in Nottinghamshire. I thought it was impressive that the end view down the line had been given a lot of thought. This was Wimborne in 00. It's the 3rd iteration of this southwesterly location. They had plenty of trains running all of the time, which is great at exhibitions. It's only my humble opinion, of course, but I'm not interested in people trying to run to timetables at an exhibition. Unless that timetable is speeded up and has show time, if you like, rather than real time. Anyway, so well done, Wimborne modellers. And I believe this layout was set during the 1950s or early 1960s. So this is Shadows of Exmore in NG7, what used to be O-16.5. I thought it was great. It's very shallow from back to front, but as you'll see, it shows a nice wiggle through the countryside, the rolling hills. So it's a narrow gauge line based between Linton and Barnstaple in Devon, which is now a preserved line they're trying to rejoin. Anyway, so you can see the trains weave through the rolling hills on the edge of Exmoor, right to the popular town of Linton. So right here we can tell this train to get a wiggle on. I thought it was great how much realism you could cram into such a narrow line, and I've never seen a curved layout like this, so yeah, I thought it was stunning actually.
So later on they realised that if they had good stock, look at it for a while, I think it actually had solid fuel until I'm no idea how many inches. And I've got a new boiler and the fan and stuff.
Here's a couple of photographs to highlight some of the detail. Another thing I thought was clever about this layout was that they hadn't tried to get a backdrop all the way around the layout itself, but had this big photograph hanging behind them. And so then the people were actually part of the train staff for real, if you like. I don't know, even though they're out of scale, something about it really worked for me. Be interested to hear what you think in the comments. Dead Man's Lane in Double O. Apparently, if you take a stroll down Dead Man's Lane in Derby, I have to say I find the name a bit off-putting, but anyway, apparently you will encounter a sign for the East Midlands Trains Etches Park Depot, which is quite a mouthful. Anyway, this layout portrays the workings of that busy depot and the adjacent main line with passing trains based over the last 3 to 4 years, so a modern layout. Oulton Road in Double O certainly had a lot going on for it. I think that's cement works, and then it goes through this little village and station, and then we go round the corner into a very huge and impressive industrial area. There's an oil terminal, there's some emergency going on with the fire engine out, there are regular trains of TTA and TEA, tank wagons coming and going. I'm sure you could look at it for 20 minutes and not see everything. An internet search tells me this is pronounced Euxton Junction, a double O layout, but if I've got that pronunciation wrong, I apologise. It's a model by Preston and District Model Railway Society and is a up-to-date layout, which I think they've kept having to change to keep it up to date, so to speak. Anyway, plenty going on this one as well. I enjoyed this part of the layout with the modern housing estate still being built. I thought that was a bit different to see. Also, it looks to me like they have a proper artist who has painted the sky and clouds and smoke. Well done. Then we come on to one of the two layouts or railways that you might otherwise consider as more garden scale. So this is the Ridings in G1. And as the catalogue says, G1 sits where the railway modelling and model engineering meet. And a major interest is the construction and running of these live steam locomotives powered by liquid fuel, gas or coal, many of which will be in operation during the show, and they were. Anorax Anonymous, what a great trader's name for railway enthusiasts. Ullapool is an O-gauge layout, and it imagines what a proposed branch line between Garve and Ullapool would have looked like, and it's set in the mid-1980s. Whilst I probably couldn't fit one in my house, I love seeing O-gauge at exhibitions, because the fact that obviously you have much bigger trains means much better weathering and detail. I mean, just look at those green tankers. I mean, just superb. Donnersbachkogel, and apologies if I've mullered that one. Here's the narrow gauge line, which in the past used to get minerals down to the main line station. So Donnersbachkogel is a freelance Austrian layout located somewhere in the pre-Alpine region, and the old station building is the terminus for the narrow gauge, as well as the station on the main line.
red and green one, so I'll go to number 16.
So I've inserted a few photographs where I feel that the detail of these layouts is worth showing, and with the number of people there, sometimes you just couldn't get a good video. Andrew's Yard is another O-gauge, a fictional layout set in the late 1930s where Great Western Railway engines are collecting and dispatching wood and coal to yards nearby. There's the occasional old British Railway engine running in and out, and I have to say I think this was one of my favourite layouts. I can't put my finger on quite why, because they were all fantastic in detail. I've already admitted I enjoy seeing the O-gauge, so maybe it was about that and sort of the nostalgic atmosphere. Not that I lived in the 1930s, but that sense of history it's conveying just so brilliantly. The fact it also had this traverser or transfer table working between the two lines without any hand of God required was also pretty impressive. So this layout of Penrhyn Quarries was in 10mm to 1 foot. It was inspired by the slate mines of North Wales, the actual Penrhyn Quarries. It's a wintry scene, as you can see, packed with atmosphere. It's got a frozen waterfall and plenty of snow-covered buildings and landscape. The buildings were all scratch built and inspired by historic Carnarvonshire railway buildings. Superb layout. Don't know what was going on with the soundtrack. It was a bit weird in places. Navigation Road in EM. This is a slice of northeast London circa 1971, part of the eastern region of British Rail, and therefore is the perfect layout for showing locomotives from all 4 British Rail eastern regions.
to the main, please, Jeff.
Ishinaka is an N-gauge layout set in a large Japanese town which has recently seen an upsurge in tourism, and it therefore has a terminus station with a tramway link and a samurai heritage village. So this is Splott in P4. It's a 1980s industrial layout set in South Wales. It was actually more of an aquamarine colour than the footage shows here. Apparently it's to set the industrial tone. To be honest, I wasn't quite sure about the blue. This is more the colour that it was. Yeah, each to their own, I guess, and it's always nice to see something different, and certainly the industrial detail was great, and I do love a little shunter. Rampage in 00 is a robot-themed futuristic creation. The action keeps going as the Space Marines guard the complex and the smoke pours out from the generator. And apparently AK1 can be given instructions.
AK1, showtime.
So AK1 waves us out of this part 1 of 3 videos of the National Festival of Railway Modelling. Please do come back because there's still some stonking layouts to see on the other 2 videos. Oh, and if you haven't already, please do like and subscribe and share for me. That will keep my encouragement for editing going. Thank you so much, and thank you for watching.